I thought I'd read the rest of this chapter of Manage Your Environment, Go First Class in the Magic of Thinking Big book. So, make it a rule to seek advice from people who know. Now, I want you to think about this. How many times do you ask your neighbor or your best friend or something like that, or somebody that has never done what you want to do, or been where you are now and have done what you want to do? How many times have you asked for their advice and then listened to it and then taken their advice? I made a habit after I learnt this to never ask anybody that hadn't been in my situation for advice, because their advice is probably going to be warped and it's not going to be the advice you need to get you to where you want to go. So I'm hoping that this book says the same thing. That'd be a bit funny. Anyway, make it a rule to seek advice from people who know. There's a lot of incorrect thinking that successful people are inaccessible. The plain truth is that they are not. As a rule, it's the more successful people who are the most humble and ready to help. Since they are sincerely interested in their work and success, they are eager to see that the work lives on and that somebody capable succeeds them when they retire. It's the would-be big people who are most often the most abrupt and hard to get to know. An executive made this clear. I'm a busy woman, but there's no do not disturb sign on my office door. Counselling people is one of my key functions. We give standardised training of one kind or another to everybody in the company. But personal counselling, or tutoring as I call it, is available for all that ask. I stand ready to help the fellow who comes in here with either a company or a personal problem. The fellow who displays curiosity and exhibits a real desire to know more about his job and how it relates to other jobs is the individual I like most to help. But, she said, for obvious reasons I can't spend time offering advice to anybody who isn't sincere in seeking it. Go first class when you have questions. Seeking advice from a failure is like consulting a quack on how to cure cancer. Many executives today never employ persons for key jobs without first interviewing the fellow's wife. One sales executive explained to me, I want to be sure the prospect salesman has his family behind him, a cooperative family that won't object to travel, irregular hours and other inconveniences which are part of selling. A family that will help the salesman over these inevitable rough spots. Executives today realise that what happens on weekends and between 6 p.m. and 9 a.m. directly affects a person's performance from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The person with a constructive, off-the-job life nearly always is more successful than the person who lives in a dull, dreary home situation. Let's look in on the traditional way two co-workers, John and Milton, spend their weekends. Let's look too at the ultimate results. John's psychological diet on weekends is something like this. Usually one evening is spent with some carefully selected interesting friends. Another evening is generally spent out, perhaps at a movie, a civic or community project, or some friend's house. John devotes Saturday morning to Boy Scout work. Saturday afternoons he does errands and chores around the house. Often he works on some special project. Currently it's building a patio in the backyard. On Sundays, John and his family do something special. One Sunday recently they climbed a mountain. Another Sunday they visited a museum. Occasionally they drive into the nearby countryside, for John wants to buy some country property in the not-too-distant future. Sunday evening is spent quietly. John usually reads a book and catches up on the news. Wrapped up, John's weekends are planned. His many refreshing activities keep boredom locked out. John gets plenty of psychological sunshine. Milton's psychological diet is much less well-balanced than John's. His weekends are unplanned. Milton is usually pretty tired on Friday night, but he goes through the motions of asking his wife, want to do anything tonight? But the plan dies there. Rarely do Milton and his wife entertain, and rarely are they invited out. Milton sleeps late on Saturday morning, and the rest of the day is taken up with chores of one kind or another. Saturday night, Milton and his family usually go to a movie or watch TV. What else is there to do? Milton spends most of Sunday morning in bed. Sunday afternoon, they drive over to Bill and Mary's, or Bill and Mary drive over to see them. Bill and Mary are the only other couple Milton and his wife visit regularly. Milton's entire weekend is marked by boredom. By the time Sunday evening rolls around, the whole family is on each other's nerves as a result of cabin fever. There are no knockdown, drag-out fights, but there are hours of psychological warfare. Milton's weekend is dull, dreary, boring. Milton gets no psychological sunshine. Now, what's the effect of these two home environments on John and Milton? Over a period of a week or two, there probably is no perceptible effect. But over a period of months and years, the effect is tremendous. John's environmental patterns leaves him refreshed, gives him ideas, turns up his thinking. He's like an athlete being fed steak. Milton's environmental patterns leave him psychologically starved. His thinking mechanism is impaired. He's like an athlete being fed candy and beer. John and Milton may be on the same level today, but there will gradually be a wide gap between them in the months ahead, with John in the lead position. Casual observers will say, well, I guess John has more on the ball than Milton. But those of us who know will explain that much of the difference in job performance is a result of the difference in the mind food consumed by the two fellows. Every farmer in the corn belt knows that if he puts plenty of fertilizer on his corn, he's going to get a bigger yield. Thinking too must be given additional nourishment if we want to get better results. My wife and I, along with 5 other couples, spent a wonderful evening last month as guests of a department store executive and his wife. My wife and I lingered just a little longer than the others, so I had a chance to ask our host, whom I know well, a question that had been in my mind all evening. This was really a wonderful evening, I said, but I'm puzzled about one thing. I'd expected to meet mainly other retailing executives here tonight, but your guests all represented different fields. There was a writer, a doctor, an engineer, an accountant, and a teacher. He smiled and says, well, we often do entertain retailing people, but Helen and I find it's very refreshing to mix with people who do something else for a living. I'm afraid if we confine our entertaining to people who have only interests similar to our own, we don't find ourselves in the old, well-known rut. Besides, he went on, people are my business. Every day, thousands of people of every occupational group imaginable visit our store. The more I learn about other people, their ideas, interests, viewpoints, the better job I can do in giving them the merchandise and service they want and will buy. Here are a few simple do's to help make your social environment first class. 1. Do circulate in new groups. Restricting your social environment to the same small group produces boredom, dullness, dissatisfaction. Equally important, remember that your success-building program requires that you become an expert in understanding people. Trying to learn all there is to know about people by studying one small group is like trying to master mathematics by reading one short book. Make new friends. Join new organizations. Enlarge your social orbit. Then 2, variety in people. Like variety in anything else, adds spice to life and gives it a broader dimension. It's good mind food. 2, do select friends who have views different from your own. In the modern age, the narrow individual hasn't much future. Responsibility and positions of importance gravitate to the person who is able to see both sides. If you're a Republican, make sure you have some friends who are Democrats and vice versa. Get to know people of different religious faiths. Associate with opposites, but just be sure there are persons with real potential. Number 3, do select friends who stand above petty, unimportant things. Folks who are more concerned with the square footage of your home or the appliances you have or don't have than your ideas in your conversation are inclined to be petty. Guard your psychological environment. Select people who are interested in positive things, friends who really do want to see you succeed. Find friends who breathe encouragement into your plans and ideals. If you don't, if you select petty thinkers as your close friends, you'll gradually develop into a petty thinker yourself. We're a poison-conscious nation, body poison that is. Every restaurateur is on guard against food poisoning. Just a couple of cases of it and his patrons won't come near his place. We've got tons of law to protect the public against hundreds of body poisons. We put, or should put, poisons on the top shelves so the kids can't reach them. We go to any extreme to avoid body poison. And it's good what we do. But there's another type of poison, perhaps a little more insidious. Thought poison, commonly called gossip. Thought poison differs from body poison in two ways. It affects the mind, not the body, and is more subtle. The person being poisoned usually doesn't know it. Thought poison is subtle, but it accomplishes big things. It reduces the size of your thinking by forcing us to concentrate on petty, unimportant things. It warps and twists our thinking about people because it is based on a distortion of facts. And it creates a guilt feeling in us that shows through when we meet the persons we've gossiped about. Thought poison is 0% right thinking. It is 100% wrong thinking. The contrary to lots of opinion, women have no exclusive franchise on gossip. Every day, many men too live in a partially poisoned environment. Every day, thousands of gossip fests staged by men take place on such topics as the boss's marital or financial problems, bills politicking to get ahead in businesses, the probability of John being transferred, the reasons for special favours being awarded Tom, and why they brought in that new man. Gossiping goes something like this. Say, I just heard. No, why? Well, it doesn't surprise me. He had it coming to him. Of course, this is confidential. Conversation is a big part of our psychological environment. Some conversation is healthy. It encourages you. It makes you feel like you're taking a walk in a warm sunshine of a spring day. Some conversations make you feel like a winner. But other conversation is more like walking through a poisonous radioactive cloud. It chokes you. It makes you feel ill. It turns you into a loser. Gossip is just negative conversations about people, and the victim of the thought poison begins to think he enjoys it. He seems to get a form of poison joy from talking negatively about others, not knowing that to successful people he is becoming increasingly unlikable and unreliable. One of these thought poison addicts walked into a conversation of some friends I was having about Benjamin Franklin. As soon as Mr. Killjoy learned the topic of our chat, he came through with choice bits about Franklin's personal life in a negative way. Perhaps it's true that Franklin was a character in some ways, and he might have been the scandal magazines had they been around in the 18th century. But the point is, Benjamin Franklin's personal life had no bearing on the discussion at hand, and I couldn't help being glad that we weren't discussing somebody whom we knew intimately. Talk about people? Yes, but stay on the positive side. Let's make one point clear. Not all conversation is gossip. Bull sessions, shop talk, or just patting the breeze are necessary. At times, they serve a good purpose when they are constructive. You can test your proneness to be a gossiper by taking this test. I'm going to be late for my talk. Anyway, number 1, do I spread rumours about other people? 2, do I always have good things to say about others? 3, do I like to hear reports of a scandal? 4, do I judge others only on the basis of facts? 5, do I encourage others to bring their rumours to me? 6, do I precede my conversations with don't tell anybody? 7, do I keep confidential information confidential? 8, do I feel guilty about what I say concerning other people? The right answers are obvious. Meditate on this thought for just a moment. Taking an axe and chopping your neighbour's furniture to pieces won't make your furniture look one bit better, and usually verbal axes and grenades on another person doesn't do one thing to make you a better you or a better me, or me a better me. Go first class. That is an excellent rule to follow in everything you do. including the goods and services you buy. Once, to prove the unconditional truth of the go first class thinking, I asked a group of trainees to give one example of how they had been penny-wise and pound foolish. Here are some sample replies. I bought a low-priced suit from an offbeat retailer. Thought I got a bargain, but the suit was simply no good. My car needed a new automatic transmission. Took it to an alley garage that agreed to do the job for $25 less than an authorised dealer. The new transmission lasted 1,800 miles, and the garage wouldn't make it right. 4 months I ate at a real greasy spoon, trying to save money. The place wasn't clean, the food wasn't good, the service, well, you couldn't call it that, and the clientele was a bunch of down at heelers. One day, a friend persuaded me to join him for lunch at one of the best restaurants in town. He ordered the businessman's lunch, so did I, too. I was amazed at what I got. Good food, good service, good atmosphere, and for just a little more than I had been paying at the Greasy Spoon, I learned a big lesson. There were many other replies. One fellow reported that he got into trouble with the Bureau of Internal Revenue because he used a bargain accountant. Another went to cut-rate doctor, and later learned he had received a completely wrong diagnosis. Other related the cost of going second class in home repairs, hotels, and other goods and services. Of course, I've heard the arguments many times, but I can't afford to go first class. The simplest answer is you cannot afford to go any other way. Certainly in the long run, going first class actually costs you less than going second class. Then too, it's better to have fewer things and have quality than to have many things and have junk. It's better, for example, to have one really good pair of shoes than to have 3 pairs of second-class shoes. People rate you for quality, often subconsciously perhaps. Develop an instinct for quality. It pays, and it costs no more, often costs less than second class. Make your environment make you successful. 1. Be environment conscious. Just as your body diet makes the body, mind diet makes the mind. 2. Make your environment work for you, not against you. Don't let suppressive forces, the negatives, you can't do it, people, make you think defeat. 3. Don't let small thinking people hold you back. Jealous people want to see you stumble. Don't give them that satisfaction. 4. Get your advice from successful people. Your future is important. Never risk it with freelance advisors who are living failures. 5. Get plenty of psychological sunshine. Circulate in new groups. Discover new and stimulating things to do. 6. Throw out poison out of your environment. Avoid gossip. Talk about people, but stay on the positive side. And 7. Go first class in everything you do. You can't afford to go any other way. I have to rush. Enjoy. Make sure you put something in the comments about what you're taking away. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye. See ya.